fa Samoa le tunu pele lau fa sausonga ya malau mai mota foi e le nei foi vai tau so ifuanga fa fele twal pe maulunga ta tu tunu yona muleu ma fa lupe na tu lava Samoa le tunu tofi e o mai ona tofi ta tu tunu ya na foi le to os fam talanga e sisio na vaenga mas foi le foi ngalen pa ya le tua e so se fata fai tau langa ma le lau tele ta tu tunu o fe lava lo e tau malele mai ai e o tātou polo kalame nei, o le whaawawingal nei, o le tātou polo kalame o le malanga. E wā fo ilau mai mō tā pua I malau sila mai lo tātou tunu. Another episode of Ole Malanga, your voyage, your life journey. Ole Malanga is brought with compliments of the following companies. Paanga wha pisinisi, o le National Bank of Samoa, o se whaletupe lua, e whaletupe o lo umia tu maoti e o tātou tangata, company o ainga mwhai bisinisi. Ia le ngatilina, ia o le tānoa Tusitala Hotel, ia o le whalitali malo ua sila fia o tātou tunu. O lo e ona ina, e le ainga mai fiti o le Ready Group. Ia mes fo I le Eveni Carruthers, ia na amata le tasiva lua iwa, IH Carruthers, ia o mai lava I le nei vai tau, ia mo so o fitino, la eo tamai tai mali I le Eveni Pacific. O le tātou polo kalame la nei tu la fiafi. Ia leo whaatasi mai stasi foi o tamali. Ia o le whalitua po le tamaitai, o le tua fina foi. Ia malanga mai e tunu I whafo. Mo lava noe mai ai, mo sana whaasoa ia wā le tātou whamoe moe I le nei tu la. O le whionga ia leota, sua whainga, leota sua whainga I lein sautia. Ia o se tamali o le tātou tunu. Ia ua malanga mai I nisi whao wha moenga wha le ainga. Ia ua mau ai lea wanoa e toe whailoa I ma mafutai mai tausanga I tele ua mawai atu I New Zealand ma Australia. Yeah, welcome to our program. Lau whionga leota, ma lolo soifua.
Ma lolo soifua, lava ia oe mau lolo whata, ma lipa. Ia whawhitai lava mo le leia wanoa. Tā alofa Samoa, ma lolo soifua, langi e mama, ma le pa ia mamalu o le tatau atunu. Whamani atu, le I matoa le leila o tau tala wha Samoa. A whai e se upu o te tau tala, ia whamali atu. Ua lewa tau sanga o nofo I New Zealand ma Australia. O le nganana Samoa, le lava o te tau mawhai iai. E meise lava o tau mawhai, I le future generation, e whaali ia lātou, tūsapo whea le langi e tino whai, e te mau lava le anganu o Samoa.
Malo, o le suafa leota, ia mai le lalwhanga o Iwa I Salawhai. Iwa I Salawhai, ia ma le suafa o le suafa I ngā, ia mai le lalwhanga o ngā ngaifo le wao I le whanga. Elaine holds two distinguished matai from ngā ngaifo I le whanga suawhai ngā. Elaine holds two distinguished title matais suawhai ngā of ngā ngaifo le wao le whanga and leota of Iwa Savai. These titles reflect her strong cultural foundations and her connections to two respected villages and lineages. Professionally, Elaine has established herself in the fields of education and disability support, demonstrating leadership, integrity, and a deep commitment to serving individuals and families. Her work is guided by compassion, professionalism, and a dedication to promoting inclusion and meaningful opportunities for all. Through her cultural responsibilities and her professional service, Elaine upholds the honor of her titles with dignity and purpose, contributing positively to both her community and her field. Well, let's start off with what brings you here to Samoa at this time of the year. La le mafuanga na malanga mai.
Well, I was given the honor by my family, the Salioka, to bestow the title of Leota, which is from my grandfather's side. And I'm the type of person that loves to serve my family tautua. Sometimes it's hard, especially when we live overseas. But Samoa will always be who I am.
Yeah, I remember you. You come here frequently the last many years, despite the fact that you were living there. I understand you lived here while you were only 7 years old. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So, as many Samoans do, families make the decisions to seek better opportunities for their children. My mother made that decision for me when I was 7 years of age. So I went to Samoa and I was only 7 and I knew no English and found it really hard and struggled. But I knew who I was, and so went to school there, went to Catholic schools and everything, and then when I turned 21, I actually came back to Samoa. My mother was quite upset because she said, you know, I take you overseas to give you a better life and you still want to return to Samoa. And at 21, you really don't know who you are, except the fact that you are Samoan, but do you actually know who you are? So traveling back for me also was an opportunity for me to fulfill a dream, and my dream was always to be a flight attendant. So I came back, lived in American Samoa, in Hawaii, and became a flight attendant. And I only did it for 2 years. I felt there was more to me than just being a beauty queen in the air. I wanted to help my people in a better way, not just being a flight attendant. So went back to New Zealand and started working in education. And that's actually where I met you, Fata.
Thank you.
My passion for education comes from the fact that this is the reason why our families move overseas, is to give their children a better education. Unfortunately, sometimes in that drive for a better education, we do lose our Samoan language. In our fight to be equals with the Palangi people, your tongue becomes hard in English, and when you come back to Samoa, you try to still speak the language, but you know it's different. I've always said that people like myself who go to Samoa and go to New Zealand, Australia, America, wherever, and we come back to this country, we're what we call the white Polynesians. The white Polynesian that has some understanding of the culture, but deeply needs to still be educated themselves. So education for me was a passion that I had because I wanted to succeed in education, and I want my future generation, Samoan people, or any Polynesian people really, to succeed in education. So I went on that journey of education and ended up working at Best, and that's where I met Fata. And we promoted, at that time, I was actually promoting computer programs. And I still do to this day somewhat, because that is where the world is going. It's use of computers. I used to come on the radio and say to our Samoan community in New Zealand, if you came over here and you think that earning money is just working in a factory, it's not. That's not the reason why you came to these countries. You came to these countries so that your kids can get an education, so that they can get good paid jobs, not just working in a factory. So for me, education is really important. It's what gives us the future.
Yeah, I think you know, during the 1970s and early 80s, even the 60s, when our people make that journey across to New Zealand, and especially New Zealand, you're quite right about it was very difficult in terms of culture shock.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I can see you're so passionate about being Samoan at that age, and then mom and dad.
Yeah.
Here are mom and dad trying to talk English to the white people and the Palangis, and
Yes.
growing up in that environment and that era, which is the 70s, is one of the very, time which we were sort of pushing around in terms of immigration and that sort of thing. But
Yes.
you're quite right about it can easily lose the language.
No.
Pai ngō whia I ona le toe,
Very.
whai ona e tautala.
Very easy to lose the nganga. My grandmother migrated to New Zealand with me and my mum. I stayed in New Zealand probably 2 years, and then my mum moved across, and then my grandmother. And because I'm so close to my grandmother and she spoke only Samoan, I used to go to school, speak English, come home and then speak Samoan. And I think I was one of the lucky ones that was able to keep a certain amount of Samoan because of my grandmother. But as I grew into positions of recognition within the community, I had to learn that English. I had to learn the language that I could survive in that level.
And also sort of converse with the white people in terms of everything, during that time.
Yes. Because when I worked for the disability sector in New Zealand, I went to the government. I sat in government meetings promoting disability inclusion. So it really kind of took away some of my language, but at the same time, it made me more passionate about that inclusion, that importance of being part of a culture.
And also at the same time, when you talk about disability at that time, it's pretty difficult for our people to talk about saying, okay, we have a disabled or someone in our family which has a disability. That's what they just don't like to talk about disability. They think
Well, it's funny you talk about that, Fata, because I came to Samoa in 2003. And at that time, I actually came over to do some work with Loto Tamawhai. And I brought over 2 young deaf people with me, 2 palangi young deaf people. And at that time, we also travelled around the whole of Samoa with the Deputy Minister of Education. And at that time I came, my role was not only to interpret, but my role was also to provide training to people that work with disability.
For the Loto Tamawhai locally?
For the Loto Tamawhai. That included parents, teachers, all of them. So I ran quite a few workshops at the time that I came, and we actually were here in the University of Samoa, and we actually gave a talk about the importance of recognising that people with disability, that they can. And I remember coming and being really disheartened because at that time they wouldn't allow people with disability to drive, let alone work. And families who had people with disability, and I'm really sorry, Samoa, if I say anything wrong, but they didn't want them. Because the belief in Samoa is that if you have a child with disability, obviously you've done something wrong in the eyes of the Lord.
Pride in the family, yeah?
Yes. And it really saddens me because I travelled around and saw that. And I remember standing in front of the church over here and speaking to the congregation of about 400 people, saying to them, if God gives you a child with a disability, then know this. He gave them to you because you can do it. So for me, I'm very passionate about communities, about moving forward, and about achieving what you can achieve. Yeah.
Leota Suafenga, Elaine Sautia is our guest, our special guest. She resided in Australia right now, but she traveled here to Samoa, for family reasons. So she's here to talk more about after the break.
The new debit MasterCard by the National Bank of Samoa is here to help make life easy. It's the easy way to pay everyday purchases, dining, internet shopping, online payments, and even paying your bills. It's as easy as tap and go. Available to use both locally and internationally. It works fast. There's no need to write checks. Plus, save on countless trips to the ATM. A global payment solution accepted by millions of places worldwide. You can use it for just about anything. The new National Bank of Samoa Debit MasterCard. Come in today and see how easy life can be.
Tu Samoa I lau mai mo mai o leota sua whainga I lein sautia o tātou malo whālonia lea o maua wanoa tātou e tala no ai I winga lana I fwoi whainga malanga po langa tjeni I le te leo tausanga e leo to e malanga mai fwoi nei vai tau I ono le whatinonga o lātou suafa o lātou ainga e peila le suafa leota I le lal whanga o iwa I sa la whai ia o vaenga ia I le mwhaio na whaititi ai le langona o tamaitai o le whionga ane ota ia I lein. E malanga mai Samoa I tausanga uma. Ona e moni lava o nofo I New Zealand malale Australia te leo tausanga. A o lona whatu atoa o Samoa I nei. Peo tausi il fia Samoa, na tua I nei il fitu o na tausanga. Ai le mwhaio na misi il tausanga ma malanga mai ona o ainga ia maltulanga lava o ia o le Samoa. Let's talk about education. I mean, we met through that tertiary provider in Auckland, which managed to do a lot of programs, different programs in the area of upskilling, trades, and bring back those young people, young Samoan Pacific Islanders at the time who were dropped off at school, or they chose not to go to school anymore, or they preferred to go and work in a factory, McDonald's or other places. Let's talk about that. Well, what was your role then at the time in upskilling these young people?
So when I was working for BEST, and probably quite a few Samoan people know BEST because BEST was one of the main educators of Samoan people that came, especially up here in Auckland. So my role was actually business development manager, and I used to actually interview a lot of Samoan families, especially with children that left school early or got into trouble, couldn't go back to school, those kind of kids. They're what we call second chance learners. So second chance learners are kids that come in, and our role is to actually support them to get their NCEA back in New Zealand. Now, I found that a lot of the issues why some of these kids were like this is because in our culture, we serve two countries, especially if you're moving to New Zealand. If you don't work in New Zealand, you have nowhere to live. But at the same time, you went to New Zealand so that you can support your family in Samoa. So what happens to the parents in Samoa, a lot of them work all the time. And I said this in New Zealand and I'll say this here. When they come to Samoa or to New Zealand, basically your child, you're only spending probably only 40% of your time with your child because you are so busy working, you're trying to make ends meet. So then we forget the purpose of why we went to New Zealand. The purpose was to educate our children, was to give them a better life than us. So you have to focus on the journey and why you came to New Zealand. So upskilling is really important, especially in any country now. You look at Samoa. If you do not get an education in university or in any kind of upskilling program, you will be the last on the list of people that get recruited for jobs. So it is important to think about where is it that your child wants to go and you supporting them to get there. Put our children first, because it is our children that build our generation. It's the next generation that's coming. and the next generation that's coming need to be educated, because look at where we're at. Look at our island. I am so proud that Samoa has a university, and you hear those, those kids that have gotten these scholarships, or they've travelled overseas, or they've become doctors. It's awesome to hear that Samoa has that. But also recognise that sometimes, depending on the level of where the recognition of our country is, that determines what placements that our kids get.
So let's flash back a bit about. It was very difficult at a time when our people went across in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, or before that, trying to be parents and work at the same time.
Yes.
So you know that.
Oh.
You know, because you were caught up in that big, trying to make sure that we pay the rent,
Yes.
bread and butter on the table and that sort of thing. At the same time, kids for school.
Oh.
I mean, when you talk about, that is another major purpose of leaving our shores here, when they decided to go to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Why? Because of employment,
Yes.
more
Better opportunities.
better opportunities,
Yes.
and education for our
Yes.
children.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Elaine, you touch upon it.
Yes.
They are only lucky if it's 40 hours a week
Yeah.
to see mom and dad, because they wake up in the morning, mom and dad already gone, and then they came at night.
Yeah.
They're already in bed.
Well, my mum was a single mum. My mother worked 2 jobs so that I could live a better life. My mother would wake up in the morning, go at 7 o'clock, and then she'd come home at 4 o'clock. Then she'd go to another job and be home by 9 o'clock. And that because my mother was a seamstress, she also did outwork. So my mother actually worked all the time. I suppose the love that I got was from my grandmother, hence the reason why I'm so close to my grandmother. But the financial support was my mother. So not only did my mother put me through education, she also put a few of her nieces through, because they came through in seek of a better life, in seek of a better education. My mother never lost her focus as to that's the reason why. I am her only child. So it's really hard as an only child, because somehow you have to achieve your mother's dream. Because otherwise, what was the purpose of the journey? So when I left school, as young as you are, you don't really think about it. But as life goes on, you do. You start to think about that journey. And it's important for you to start thinking about it now, because there will come a time when you will understand why that journey was made. You may not understand it when you're young, but you will when you're older. And I've always said to the future generation, always remember the reason we gave up so much. Always remember why we left our shores. Because I would have loved to stay in Samoa all my life. But my mother made that decision. And to have a child graduate, you have achieved not only your parents' wishes, also your ancestors for that.
Ole whainga malanga le al tātou tunu o mai tausanga tele, mata mai lawa te siwali masfulu, mai tau nei wala o fitsful tausanga talu ona malanga o tātou tangata, maalala i New Zealand, ma Australia, misa New Zealand. Ona o saili ngā manuia, o totongi mga aluenga lelei. Au lisa i tūtau, o ala mawhanau ina ia onga lelei. Ia peo na sao noia le ota suawhainga i lein. O le whanau noanga nisi taimi i o tātou, pa i o tātou tunu i New Zealand. Ua tele na le lifa i le tūlanga fo i lea mo le sailinga o le tamau ainga i le whaitio la sisi ai. Mai tauna tutongi uma vai nga uma no foi New Zealand ma tu no ula pe Australia. Ua pe ua fa atu nai ia na yala mo fa nau ia mole lato ma ongam tu lang pena ma fu angal na I lane. That's the purpose why there's quite a lot of young ones from Australia lato wala. Ia mo o tu isi tu langa e la tatal no atu ia I le youth.
Yes.
Tu la tau silsila ia I le nei vai tau lewe alala Australia. What's your take in terms of young people and especially our Pacific Island young people? Particularly as Samoans, because even in Australia now, o to tell you o tangata Pacifica lei o Samoa.
Yes. Yes.
So what's the outlook for our young people in terms of going forward in education wise?
I think that's a really good question because I live in Melbourne, and Melbourne doesn't have as many Samoans as it does in Brisbane. Brisbane has got a lot of the Samoans. But what I see coming through sometimes in the education sector, especially in there, is that there's the achievement for our Pacifica people in Australia is not as high as it is in New Zealand, believe it or not. And part of that is because of the culture. Australia doesn't really cater to Polynesians in that way, whereas New Zealand does. New Zealand recognises the journeys that we've made. Australia is such a multicultural country. You have Polynesians coming in, but then you also have Europeans coming in from all over the world.
Middle Easterns.
Middle East people. Yeah. So at the moment, what my understanding is that a lot of our Samoan people in Melbourne, Australia, are actually starting to develop programs to support our Polynesian people through education. They're starting to recognise this by putting in support workers or support teachers or teacher aides to support our kids, because it's the same thing like I said before. We go to these islands or these countries because we want a better education for our kids, but we end up working because we're supporting our families, and therefore through that journey we forget the purpose of why we went, because we're so busy earning.
Yeah, is it fair to say, Elaine, that education is not just for young people and our children. Parents too. We need to let mom and dad knows how to journey through life in terms of that balance.
Yeah.
Elenga alfa pe alfa ngalenga ya mawal tupe fatino me uma malafu mai samone. Ia silsila foila ya lum fanau. Al mafuangal na le wala ina wo fa na fe ngalwenga wo tupelo.
Yes.
Motulo mal taula.
Yes.
Yeah, well to polelo. Well, look, I've got 1,500 a fortnight.
Yeah.
What else? I don't need to go back to school. I don't need to do studies anymore.
No.
What's the heck? Now I've got the money here. So the balance now live
It is. That's the balance. That's the truth, is that we forget because we see money. We see money. And yeah, we do need money. But don't forget the reason why we left our countries. And we left that because we wanted to educate our kids and we wanted a better life for our kids. So for me, like living in Australia is really different, living in Australia and then living in New Zealand. Yeah. Because with New Zealand, it's the recognition that there does need to be those support programs. And sometimes Samoan is my second language. So I can help my kids because the curriculum in those countries is in English. But if you're not good in English, then get extra support for your children.
Ask.
Get into the schools, ask for extra support for your kids. Because that's the only way your kids are going to learn. If you can't support them fully, then get that extra help for your kids.
O leota suofenga Elaine Sautia. Yeah, wa lota usanga o no foi fafo ma ai tau malele fafo. Ai malanga mai lava. O le nau ta inga o Samoa lava o lona fatu lea. Le malanga mai ai pe foi la nei fainga malanga o sa fai o lo latu aina. Ma wai lava noa. No inga. e ese le tāua o le whasinomanga, o le identity o tātou, pe on sao noi le ota, o le tūlanga ina ia silfia le i alum whanau, ia lo lātou whasinomanga, o whea tonu e o mai ai, o ai o lātou mātua mo lātou aingo tu ao nu mā lalwhanga, ai mesena nei kālesia. A mael malolonga, whawautal noanga maleota, sua whainga i Lane Sautia.
The new debit MasterCard by the National Bank of Samoa is here to help make life easy. It's the easy way to pay everyday purchases, dining, internet shopping, online payments, and even paying your bills. It's as easy as tap and go. Available to use both locally and internationally. It works fast. There's no need to write checks. Plus, save on countless trips to the ATM. A global payment solution accepted by millions of places worldwide. You can use it for just about anything. The new National Bank of Samoa Debit MasterCard. Come in today and see how easy life can be.
Whawhele o etu Samoa e lau tāpoinga o tātou proklame o le malanga, o le ota, sua whainga i Lane Sautia. E o tātou mālolea, o a mawela wano e tala no ai. The culture and the family. So living abroad, work, pay everything. Money is everything. We always say while we're at PES training way back, education is your passport to the future.
Definitely.
Has that been achieved in many aspects of life of our people in Australia?
In Australia and New Zealand, I think we're still working towards it. I think, like, I know a lot of my family, they're still working towards that. I think our families, I think it's my generation, Fata. I think when my parents' generation came to New Zealand, I think their generation was all about making the money.
Yeah.
That's what it was, making the money, because, you know, my parents would have been told by their parents, ia oingu sila, ngā lue, o mai le ainga, kausi mai le ainga. So off they go. At the same time, our parents see that, okay, ngā langa ko wō, yes, mo le ainga, but also mo le whaonga ka whāngau, e le le iaonga. So they went through, now our parents, like my mother, she's 91, and now it's my generation's time. So it's something that I really instill upon my children, the importance of education and the importance of, I suppose, playing it forward as well. Knowing where you're from and knowing the importance of achieving it. Yeah. And so with my own kids, I push and I push hard, because otherwise my mother's journey would have been a waste of time.
Especially Elaine Vanel sa nonga leota.
Yes.
So whainga. E teimi tonu le na malanga atua I New Zealand. Wa teimi tonu a te o lia whai o atu no la ia ngā lulu e timber mill.
Yes.
Places like Murupara, Rotorua. Yeah, the fishing industry,
yes.
Yeah, or whalenga o simea.
Yes.
So ina tūla ia le tīnama whanau I au kilani wai pe au kilani. Ai o ta mai o ngā lua I le railways,
yes.
O I le lalu pluff le oyster,
yes.
tūlanga wapena. Sa au le ia al sanwa, pawal me ia mawal tupe la whamai.
Yes.
Tūlanga na,
yes.
Pe o tūlanga na le wawai tunei. Le lawa e toi fo'i mai, e te fo'i mai lewa e sau e whaile, o la lau silsila I ai, o la ni suingo no mawhauwhau. What are the changes within, in terms of being the title Leota bestowed upon you, apart from the other title? What's that responsibility looks like living in Melbourne and continue, you know, contributed to what we have here in the very place that it's very dear to you?
Thank you for that question. Thank you for asking that question, because, you know, when we live outside of Samoa and we are bestowed titles, we know very well that comes with a responsibility. So, and sometimes, and I said this to Fata before, sometimes that responsibility, we don't want it because we've seen our parents go through it. But until the day you sit and you are given that title and you attend that nofo, that's the day that you feel your ancestors. And it brings tears to my eyes, I'm sorry. Yes.
It's you know, when you sit there, drink your cover boat, your ava, and then here I am here with the title. It's an honor. It's an honor. It's a huge honor.
A great honor.
Yeah, because the hele tala fa Samoa bear is silly tofi lo manao.
Yes.
It's better being chosen rather than you wanted.
Yes.
Now, we all come back here, you know, to be given the title, to do a tattoo, or the bear, or the malu. Those are all part of the heritage, my identity. Al fasi no manga.
Yes.
Aleva va ya tu aleota. Ese lo tele ilo fai mai malanga mai na e soi foi nei le malanga mai ile tu langa foi le iwa sul tasi ia le soi foi siutina o inai lo ai o lo ola bea le langona o e te malanga mai te malanga mai le fanga te malanga mai te alu iwa mo isi vaenga o lo ainga te malanga mai ai tu mau altu langa na ele te foi mai Samoa e tau tua i ainga mtu langa whapea.
Yes. Yes. Ole kose e le taimi o lo sauwhai e tō whitu mātou ko limengo mai whafo e ko lua i Samoa. Those of us that came from New Zealand and Australia, the feeling that we got to be given the honour of carrying our family name.
Leota is another paramount title.
Oh.
In Samoa.
Yes. But the honour that we felt to be able to take that name. I mean, I have heard quite a few people, and I don't say this disrespectfully, Fata, but I have heard it from my own Samoan people, is, ngofu whafo e nino mai, ave swafo ainga, and koi fo'i, yaku ese, lea nga. There is a aonga because all of us, it's our birthright. Whether we live in Samoa or whether we live overseas, it is my birthright to have my family name. And so when I take it overseas, I wear it proudly. When they ask, who are you? I tell them who I am. And it actually tells them where I come from. Not many Palangi people can tell you where they come from. But Samoan people can tell you where they come from through their title.
But I mean, at the same time, if you look at our journey right now, at this time in age, living in Auckland.
Yes.
Living in Auckland, living in centres like Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, e peia o late no fo Samoa.
Yes.
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 You know, everywhere you go in those big cities, in New Zealand, Australia, to peia au kilani here, it's full of us.
Yes.
But Melbourne, Sydney, or Brisbane, everywhere you go, te vai tu lai lava mai le i.
Yes.
O le whale ainga o lai mau o mai a o tā o mawha.
Yes.
Say, isn't that what we have? O le tala len whai i le nia so i alu tangata Samoa i New Zealand. E te alu na o lau ato ia mua your family,
yes,
your heritage, o lau anga nuu, ia malau lotu.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
Mai palangi au te mine mai sainga mai Asia mai New Zealand mai malatu tupe.
Yes.
Au tatou Elenka ko kupe kaukio, tatu suen tatu tupe mai Samoa.
Pawal mea le
Oh, ale umuape.
But that's the thing, in any country, in New Zealand or Samoa or Melbourne, the first time you meet a Samoan, you always say, oh, wheme ko kio mai mai.
Where do you come from?
Yes, where do you come from? Even though you may not have been born in Samoa, the minute they say it, you know exactly where you come from.
Identity,
Yes, identity. Yes.
Ja, foi lá ei vanen sao nonga leota. Asisil foi ei like take your to Samoa, man Samoa
Yes.
for example,
Yes.
or net pole to my tai. Then foi nel tala mal manager or le tos or man Samoa. Si die le afo tamta alo, so fuam fan no more land in New Zealand, Australia, ma America. Se si sila
Yeah.
Ole langona.
Yes.
If you saw it out to
Tautua.
if it's in business, education, whatever, engineer, sports,
Yes.
health,
Yes.
they feel like, oh,
Yes.
who knows? You know, now you've got another title here, Leota. I mean, maybe somewhere down the line you might want it to be part of a disability set up here. I mean, disabled people,
Yes. I am so proud of where the disability is in Samoa compared to when I came back. And, you know, watching a young girl participate as a pageant in Miss Samoa, I was in awe that a young disabled girl was actually given an opportunity to participate in what Samoa has always done. So, yes. So the thing for me, like, you know, I always want to come back to Samoa again. My children are all growing up, and I think I have educated them enough to be able to survive on their own.
But what about the dad? What about the dad? You know, your other half, your husband.
My other half, he was born in New Zealand, doesn't speak Samoan as much, only the real simple language. He totally sees my heart, and he totally understands the need for us to support our Samoan community. He has always backed me every step of the way because he finds it very hard to communicate in Samoa or basically communicate what it is that he wants. So for him, my kids, they go, Mum, out of you and Dad, you're the fairest, Dad's the darkest, but you're the most Samoan. When we come to Samoa, we come to Samoa, and the Samoan people speak to him in Samoan, and he looks at me and goes, what did they say? But his loko is as same as mine.
Before you give you the opportunity to say your final word to our viewers and our listeners, I just want to just briefly, you know, during the time at BEST, the amount of young people, young couples, I remember vividly the lady who graduated a bachelor in education at the age of 68.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing the work that has been done at the time. For alle måneder der tangata na ifa now. Na mafayo na so swani ya le foi au nanga tolsful mo tupta sanga fatino ileng o man tua vai ngai
Yes, okay, man ko le ya kanga you know.
Sai okay I fala fanga Samoa ngai.
Yes, I do. I remember actually counselling quite a few of our Samoan people.
Mentoring and
you know, like some of them would say, you know, I can't continue le o lava ia kupe e wahawhaingo ainga, wahawhaingo loku, wahawhaingo. And I said to them, look, you may think that it's hard. Ele maua se mea I se mea whaingo whie. You have to work hard. So seeing our Samoan people achieve in those roles or in education that way was really, really, for me, it was really good. It was really good.
Okay, Leota. Ja, wat u laat no fai so sa no fai. Ja, maar foi lo malanga mai nei vai tau. Ja, selv fra og det fra funga mal mai mo ta tu no for yeah I looked out the nonga pola mo mau your perspective about our people and le lala ma papa au in New Zealand ma Australia for so many years. I know to soale le pupunyo fa malama ma ale sau nong fai mo ta tu pola kalami ma ta tu no.
Ia mo lava whawhitai lava whata mo le nei avanoa. I know you and I, back in our days at best, was probably one of the best times for me in supporting and encouraging and working with you. And I actually learned a lot from you from the Samoan perspective. I think you were one that actually instilled and gave me back that passion to work for our Samoan people. Samoa, my heart always belongs to you. Recognize that the journey that I talked about, it's not an easy journey, but you can do it. Our future generation, this is your platform. It is time for you to wake up. You want to participate as an equal in any country, whether it's Australia, America, New Zealand, get educated. Find something to do that will move you from where you are at. Learn to love education. Because I remember my mother saying to me, "Ele sofa pepa, nobody looks at you. You have to have that piece of paper." There's a quote that I want to end this on. And I saw it from, this quote came from two brothers who during COVID started a business and then ended up like really working hard, almost to the point wanting to give up, but they still continued. And that's what it is for us. It is hard, and you will lose some of your language along the way. It is not an easy journey. Nothing ever comes easy. Your Polynesian ancestors were the greatest navigators in the world has ever seen. They crossed oceans using only the stars and the wind. And you're telling me you can't figure it out with everything that's in front of you. Greatness runs in your blood. Start acting. Ia manuia lava Samoa whawhitai pa ia nuu whawhitai mo le nei avanoa. And to you, but I'm sorry, you know me, when I talk about education, community, tears. It's always tears. Because my heart belongs here. But thank you for the opportunity.
Ja, whafte tele leota, so whainga I le sautia mo le tautinonga, ia mo le talunanga ma le whasoa. E manatu e tele totua noa na malanga mai ai Samoa, ono a ingam whamoemoenga. Ia whaavano le teimi, e manatu ai. Sa wano fo e whaafonga ili pa i le tātu tunu, po whea lava e ai tau malele mai ai. Po Samoa nei, New Zealand, Australia, po whea lava o e il Samoa. Ia, o le whamoemoe lea, I nā i tātu ainga o alo mwhanau. Ia, bese lava pa i le tātu tunu, na tuua le tātu lau ele le nanu lau awa I Samoa nei, a inga nuu malalwhanga o le kāle siam Samoa. A whaile malanga I atu nuu mamao. Mō sa ili ngā manu ia, sa ili malo mō le pa i le tātu tunu. Pawhitai ia leota, ia mō le awanoa, ia o whaile na whaasoa mō le tātu polokalami. Ia, whamanu ia tele sa mō le tātu tunu, ria le tā pena mō le anga ia tu i whaiungo le nei tausanga, o lau tau au auna o Maulolo Whata Wellington e Manif.
Palava Samoa, olo e tapu foi aveta pa moli moa tunu I papo. Tutu mai noi nei, I le Parental Custom Agents.
Hi Jesse, welcome to Parental. How may I help you?
A lot of morning if pia ane sila ai ka mai kiki.
Au nanga babe mafai no fi. E mauti no mato te lapo ina so se pa bobo. So se va engo le lalo lang ino na tai pa tula mai. Olo ia foi le mato fale te olo o le customs control area vai tele. Ino no foanga le langa ali street. O ia lo fatino ia mato au nanga le kidia ino so se fa bobo. Mai Australia, New Zealand, ma so se va engo le lalo lang.
Yes, ala le poi. E babe, so pai no fi.
The new debit MasterCard by the National Bank of Samoa is here to help make life easy. It's the easy way to pay everyday purchases, dining, internet shopping, online payments, and even paying your bills. It's as easy as tap and go. Available to use both locally and internationally. It works fast. There's no need to